I recently got a smart security camera from Swann. This camera is completely wire-free and 1080p, and it's the first of its kind made from Swann. And I wanted to share an unboxing of the camera as well as an overview of how I installed it and show you a couple of the advantages and disadvantages of this camera so that you could decide if this camera is the right camera for you. In the box which I received, I got two wireless cameras, two magnetic mounts for the cameras, two USB cables, a couple of Swann security stickers, some 3M adhesive strips, and a drill template for the magnetic mounts as well. Alongside this, I also bought an outdoor mounting stand for the smart security camera. So I thought it would be a good idea to show you that in this video, alongside the benefits of using that as opposed to the magnetic mount provided with the smart security camera. I also got a solar charging panel for the smart security camera. At the least, I thought it would be a good idea to show you what's in the box for the solar charging panel. Basically, it gives you everything that you need for a standard install, including the screwdriver and fixing equipment. This is how I have installed one of the cameras. As you can see, this one uses the outdoor mount. In this case, the coverage is pretty good, so it's not taking full use of the outdoor mount. But it does have a stronger fixing, and it's definitely a lot more durable, I would say. This is the second camera which I installed in the front porch. This one uses the magnetic mount provided in the box. It's also worth noting that this camera is about 8 meters away from the wireless network. This is a recording from the back door. The dog actually set off the camera and it was set on high sensitivity. Low sensitivity doesn't really detect pets as much. Okay, this is also the camera recording in low lighting. Here there is a little bit of light coming from the external light source. This one is the front porch. The camera is quite clear, as you can see once again. If you look in the night time, which is the next image, this one is from the night where there was a sensor light on because the motion had triggered the sensor light and the camera, and this is with no light at all. This is what you see. This is a side by side of all the three recordings from the front porch. At the least, it gives you an idea of what you can expect from the wireless camera. So looking at the camera, the first thing you'll notice is that the camera is 100% wire free. You do not need any wires to run this camera. It actually runs off the wireless network. Alongside this, you also have the feature of it being completely rechargeable. So the only time that you would connect the cable to the camera would be to recharge the battery. The camera is also IP66 rated, so it is weatherproof and can handle being in the rain. Also, it's good to note that this camera records in 1080p, full HD, and it has audio monitoring capability. Overall, the audio quality is pretty good. As long as you've got low background noise levels, you're going to find that you're going to be able to hear quite a lot of fine things as well as the general things that you should expect from a camera at this price point to record. Alongside this, it's probably good to mention that the camera has the usual night vision capability, which is effective to 10 meters. Alexa, show me the porch camera.
Okay.
The Swann Wireless cameras are now also fully integrated with the Amazon Echo Spot and Echo Show devices. This means that you can stream live camera video to your Amazon devices just by speaking commands to them. Lastly, and possibly most importantly, this camera has True Detect, which means that it uses heat sensing motion detection, which is completely different from the standard pixel motion detection. It's probably also the reason why this camera is able to work so well wirelessly, because if it was just on the basis of pixel motion detection, there would be a lot of false triggers and you would find that the battery would drain quite quickly. Once you do have the outdoor mounting stand installed, you'll find the camera is really easy to install, and the tightening nut makes it really easy to adjust so that you can get the perfect viewing angle. Okay, looking at pairing the camera to the network, it's pretty straightforward if you go through the Save by Swann app. It gives you pretty clear instructions. The main thing that you'll have to do is turn on the connection mode on your camera, which involves pressing a small button at the back, which will lead to a blue light blinking in the front of the camera. Once the camera is in pairing mode, you'll need to connect to the camera's hotspot. This is basically where you have to switch your Wi-Fi connection to the Swann cam. Once it connects to the Swann cam, it will come up on the app as setup complete. So you will have to give your camera a name. Lastly, if you want to have a look at the preview screen, the live view, you will have to go back into your phone settings or your device settings to connect to the original network that you were on. The camera should automatically connect to the network when it says setup complete. Once you have set up the camera, you'll probably want to go and look in your camera settings. This is where you can set the environment, the video image quality of the live screen, and also the sensitivity of the camera. You'll also find a True Detect motion sleep function. What this does is when it detects motion, it will go to sleep for a period of time after the motion has been recorded. The last three settings that you get is the time at camera location, the ability to format the card on the camera, and also the ability to unpair the camera. I would say that there are a lot of plus points to this type of camera, with it being wireless and portable, but there are a couple of down points or negative points that you may have to consider when purchasing a camera like this. Looking at the negative side, obviously the camera runs on a battery, so you will still have to charge the camera every once in a while. This means that you'll still need to put it in a place which is reasonably accessible, otherwise you might find it difficult to continually have to access the camera to charge it. Having said that, if you go ahead and do purchase the solar charging panel, you'll find that it is a set and forget security solution. But this is only when used outside and with enough sunlight. This is actually how I installed my solar panel. This has been about a week now and it's been running quite well. I have noticed that the charge state has not changed, it's remained at 100% so far. And this is the side of the solar panel which shows you the mounting bracket. Also, the camera relies heavily on the wireless network. So if the network is slow, then you're going to have a poor connection, and that means you're going to have poor performance from the camera. Lastly, I would probably mention that you have to be aware that there is only 2 days of free storage for the recordings. If you wanted more than that, you would have to go onto a paid cloud service. The camera does, however, have 7 days of free local storage. This is where the clips are stored in the camera's internal memory and they are erased after 7 days. But looking at the positive side, definitely this camera will suit a lot of people, especially if you are a renter or you're living in an apartment where you can't run cables or do damage to the walls. Also, the fact that the cameras don't require anyone outside to install it, it's very basic DIY work. will really appeal to a lot of people. And I think that that's the major draw card of this camera, the fact that you can buy it straight from the shop and you can install it yourself, and with a little bit of work on your phone using the app, you will have a great security system. Also, it's probably good to mention here that in a sense it's also quite affordable, because you could choose to, say, install two cameras, one for the front and one for the back of your house, and then later on, as you have a bit more cash on you, you could go and purchase a couple more cameras and simply add to the system without having any of the issues of having to upgrade your traditional sort of NVR, DVR, or potentially having to run more cable, which I think is a good draw point. So I hope that helped you, and I hope that that gives you a bit more idea about these smart security cameras. Feel free to leave a comment or a question, and I will do my best to answer them. As a final piece of advice, I would suggest having a look on YouTube for a couple of other videos on the camera, because there are a couple up, and also having a look at the website just to have a look at the actual in-depth specs of the camera before making a purchase. And thank you once again for watching this video.